Yes, I'm sitting with one leg up on my desk. Don't judge a tall girl. Today's topic is starving artists and the romanticization of discipline and loneliness, hard work, and all of this. The aesthetic of it, because it's not going to be about discipline, more so about the actual idea of the starving artist. Who is a starving artist? Starving for being seen, starving for understanding, starving for being related to and relating at the same time, because it's usually just one. And just starving because whatever you do, it doesn't bring you any money. With a load of quite challenging thoughts that the artist uses to create art on, and a sense of a rather important, intense purpose that needs to be fulfilled by this art. So a great vision, genius mind, big heart, and no money. That's what I'm saying. And for some reason, everyone wants to be the starving artist. Have you noticed? Like, let's actually unpack this. This is so interesting to me. I like this topic a lot. What I'm noticing, this is so comfortable. Let me put two legs up. It's so cool to struggle. The struggle, the hard work, it's so nice. It looks cool. That's what I mean. Let's trace back a little bit to when the hustle culture and self-improvement scene and just people on the internet showing you the process of becoming started. It sort of became a trend to try. It became cool to try, which is really nice. I like that. I'm not hating on this concept. The name of the video is You Don't Want to Be the Starving Artist. So I'm trying to tell you, a lot of people submit to ideas just because they are presented in a nice way. And this is with everything. If you observe media, you can see that we submit to almost anything that sort of resonates. Yo, this looks nice, this looks cool, I like that. And you're able to spend a little money on a t-shirt with the name of that brand because they presented a lifestyle to you and sold you a feeling of community. That's what it is. That's branding. They sell you a feeling of belonging to an ideology, and you buy clothes with the name of the brand. Which is not bad. I'm just saying that we submit to ideas that seem cool. Naturally, when we see a lot of content of people trying to become someone, artists showing the process of making their albums, and millionaires or like teenagers showing you the process of how they make money, and let's make 30K in a month from zero. Let's try this new drop shipping thing. Let's test out this. There is a kid on YouTube who does case studies on every business idea and makes so much money in 1 month from zero with absolutely no starting capital. There's so many things that show you the process of becoming. It became very cool to try. And I respect that. I love that. It broadens our horizons to see that people are able to achieve things that we maybe thought weren't possible. It also educates us and shows us different ways to go into places that we maybe wanted to achieve and reach and travel to and meet certain people, but we didn't know how to. So we never even allowed ourselves to think that it's possible. But seeing people do that makes it possible in our mind. Sort of unlocks the first door to the possibility of putting yourself there. I love that. The only thing is, it's much more difficult than it seems. Put in this position of a starving artist any other profession. Put a doctor there. In an alternative universe, there is a trend which is called not self-improvement, but let's call it being a medic is the coolest thing in the world. And everyone watches videos of people becoming physicians, and it's just wow, it's so admirable. They suffer so much to this. This is so cool. Everyone is now trying to be a doctor. And people start dying. That's a Rick and Morty episode. Literally, everyone is now a doctor, and people in hospitals are not taken care of properly. Because these doctors are talentless. First of all, they're not educated. Trying to become a doctor doesn't guarantee success, which trying to become an artist and being a starving artist doesn't guarantee that you will fulfill your magical feeling that you have these like deep visions and thoughts, and it doesn't guarantee that you will manifest it into existence and this vision comes true and you're able to help the world in some way. You might just be marinating in your art, which good for you. What does it provide? All these people in that alternative universe tried to become doctors. It's so cool to be a doctor. And actual doctors who spent their whole lives becoming doctors are watching this whole process and they're like, I mean, it's good that they want to be doctors. I love my industry. Like, that's great. We're going to have more professionals doing their thing. If they love being a doctor, if they're so passionate about helping people, that's amazing. I'm going to support them. But then they see that these people have no idea what they're doing. They're not supposed to be in that space. They don't actually want that. They just felt like they needed to do it because it's cool. Does it make sense? Does it click in your mind at all? Because it makes so much sense in my mind, this exact comparison. Look at how many people are trying to fit into this mold of doing something different. Trying to do something different is so visible. It's so, you can see, that's why I don't really like, it's like TikTok fashion. It's like scrolling through reels and seeing fashion videos. No, micro trends. It's a micro trend. Being a starving artist is a micro trend. Should I call the video like that? Oh, let's actually broaden this a bit. It's not just about being the starving artist. That's so cool and admirable now. It's just pursuing this non-ordinary path and not fitting in. The only difference is that people who actually go down this path because it was meant to be that way, the actual doctors, it feels like I'm gatekeeping an industry. I'm not. I truly want everyone to feel fulfilled in what they're meant to do. The only thing I'm saying is it's not for everyone. Being great and exceptional in a certain field is not for everyone. Not everyone is going to be successful in becoming a creative and monetizing it. Just like not everyone is going to be great at being a doctor. Not everyone should be a doctor. But because it's shown to us as this glorified, romanticized, beautiful thing, everyone now wants to be it, and everyone ends up wasting so much of their time trying to fit into the mold of something they shouldn't have ever been. Entrepreneurship, the same thing. Not just starving artists in this creative, whimsical statement of whatever. I'm calling a starving artist everything that's non-ordinary and difficult. Not fulfilling, purposeless, sort of, because you start doing this thing only knowing what you don't want, not knowing what you want. You feel like it's okay, not all the time. Most of the time, you're escaping some sort of an environment that never felt fulfilling, and you're trying to mold yourself into the person who creates a different circumstance. You're shaping your thoughts and you're shaping your art and whatever you create and express in order to restructure a world that you want to see. Every inventor had a certain problem, so they invented a solution and used it to create a world in which this solution exists. So every artist has a certain problem and they want to create a world that is different. You start with not knowing what you want to do, but only knowing what you don't want to see in the world. You have a problem. And when you start doing something so existential with a problem, it's mostly negative. The process is very mentally draining. It starts and exists in lack most of the time. Motivation comes from fear. That deep focus that's so needed in that deep work originates from loneliness, and loneliness stems from selectiveness. Being selective is required to survive in that environment because you keep growing constantly. You keep outgrowing the environment. You keep shifting your perceptions of things, and it just doesn't get less lonely. The path is so difficult. The path of not living the ordinary life that you were supposed to live, like exiting the space in which you knew how to do things, having purpose written down and like knowing what you do, it leaves you with so much uncertainty. If you act accordingly to that, what I don't want to see, you cut the grass, you end up being so lonely in every single aspect of your life. Physically, mentally, spiritually, in every way, no relatability. Nothing can fulfill that, like, now this clicks. Literally no one gets you. And that sounds so romantic and like teenager and dark. I'm not doing one of those sad, like, oh, no one understands me. But truly, when you're doing something rare, there is no one who will be doing the same thing. And that's the price that you pay for doing something out of the ordinary. There will rarely be people on this path or around you. Or if you're doing this for a long time, focused, lonely in your room, no one's going to magically appear in your room doing the same thing. Nothing spiritual, metaphysical, or magical. You're so unique and alone in your unique realization. No, you're just on a path that requires work in isolation. And you know what's beautiful? I'm actually going to talk to some people about this. People have been asking me about like how to deal with loneliness and all of that, how to find people who align with your values. That's an inside joke. If you know, you know. Imagine if I, cut the grass, became lonely, and then suddenly, instantly met people who align with whatever values I envisioned that I had. I had these values on a written down on my paper, conscious level. Maybe I could describe to you what my values were. They were never used in action. They never were placed in a situation of fake perceived danger or limiting belief or doubt. They were never placed in an actual situation where I could prove to myself that I am that person, fail a few times, create something that I never created, and have experience in certain fields, and experiment and talk to people and get rejected. You have no credibility of holding these values and using them to claim that you are ready to exist within a community of people who are like you, because you are not a person who is like you. You only just initiated this process of becoming. So take the responsibility of actually becoming that person. I feel like ambition is all that I mean. I don't even know what starving artist means. I mean, you could put me in that box, but what does it even mean? Just replace it with ambition. You don't actually want to be the ambitious, standing out individual. And it sounds cocky. It sounds like I'm telling you that you shouldn't do something that's the trait of all successful people. I'm just saying you actually don't want to do it. It's not one of those, when parents say to their children, like, don't eat this ice cream because it's spicy, because they want it all for themselves. I'm not telling you that because of this. I want you to succeed, but I'm just saying being a starving artist isn't for everyone. If you're willing to trade this confusing life of so-called starving artist for anything else, I don't know what to say. You're probably not fit for this. It's not like I wouldn't trade this confusing reality of becoming for something else. It's like I have absolutely no other choice. Why? Because I can't live a different life. Sounds like a limiting belief, but I'm saying I wouldn't be able to exist in a reality where I'm doing something different. I choose the loneliness. I choose the struggle. I choose the confusion. I choose the exhaustion of doing the same thing every day without fully knowing why. When purpose fades every day, you have to remind yourself why you even started in the beginning. It's so hard without anyone to remind you, because no one gets why you're doing it. Everyone around you is like, yeah, should have went to school. There's no one to remind you. And with all of that, you keep outgrowing people around you who were sort of supporting you. Like they were like, yeah, you're kind of cool. Keep doing what you're doing, You outgrow them. And then you're like, whoa, so it keeps going. Like, I thought I found my people. I talked about this before, I thought I found my people. I thought that was it. I thought it was... Nah, you're moving forward, bro. You never stop. The loneliness never stops. I feel like you have... It will be some magical equation of like two parallels moving with the same speed all of the time for a long time in order for you to never feel alone. That's impossible. Just deal with it. You're moving. The longest period of the full isolation is just when you're starting, like proving to yourself that you hold these values and actions and you're actually becoming something that you're saying that you want to become. That's the loneliest stage. Then some people start actually coming into your space who are doing the same thing, and then you have someone to remind you why. That's very cool. I love that. I think I'm in that stage now. Like finally, at least someone is doing the same thing. So I'm like, whew. Every season you keep cutting the grass and it never stops. And you thought you found this stable... No. There's literally no attachment to people anymore. No. It's just scenery that changes. I mean, of course, deep relationships and connections, but it's so natural to let go right now. I am not attached to anything. The honest truth is, most people want you to do well, just not better than them. People will support you up until the point where you're more successful than them. Then it's scary. Then subconsciously, I'm not saying that they're bad people, but there is a subconscious truth, there is a subconscious belief within them that your behavior triggers. Your success terrifies their unfulfilled dreams. There's this verse in this song that I'm constantly replaying at the gym right now. Oh, wait, it's Jack Harlow, Tranquility. No, find that verse, because I don't remember the verse, but it resonated. Something about like you're mad because you never went professional. Everyone is so happy to support you when you did nothing, but then when you did something, they're either scared or scared. No one sees the struggle, no one is there in the struggle. And then the moment when you actually get to something cool, they're like all there in your space, want to hang out, tell me about this, how did you do this, asking questions. Or there's people who support you up until the point where you overachieve to an extent that doesn't fit in their reality. It's dangerous for their normal. It makes them question everything. Because you are who you surround yourself with. You being in the space of certain people makes them naturally not want to grow. Like makes their body want to grow. Like the energy is being lifted because they are afraid of what you bring up, the thoughts that you inspire, the things that you question. They're so different right now. It lifts them up, but they hold it down because they're not ready. They don't want that, and that's fine. That's why if they're not a bad person, they will just naturally fade away. But if there's like this subconscious egoic thing, they will try to bring you down. They will try to like make fun of you a bit. Like, oh, so you're all almighty now, And you're slightly more successful than the people who were supporting you before your success. They might act differently. You never know. That's what I'm saying. There's so many intricacies of being the starving artist that most people don't realize, that I just want you to know that before you do anything, before you want to become a doctor, before you want to become a dancer, before you want to start a business, there's this huge trend with starting businesses. And it has been since probably the lockdown. Like everyone got bored and realized that they're broke. I was 14. I actually started my first business when I was 14. That's cool. Or 13? How old was I? It was Redbubble selling designs. Anyway, whatever you want to become, whether it's a doctor, a stylist, a dancer, opening a business, having a bakery, or homeless, ask yourself why. Why do I want that? When did this dream arise? Why did I paint this goal to be so attractive? Why does my heart tingle when I think about it? What is there for me? I started only knowing that any other option for me wouldn't be possible. I started young, so I didn't fully know where I was going. I just knew that the path that was printing itself to be mine wasn't going to be. There's no option I'm living that life. And if that's not your response, the obsessiveness, the focus that it takes to be great at something requires for you to know why, because there's no other way. And that reason is enough. There is no other pathway I can take to make sure that my soul doesn't rot in misery. Even though I might wake up not happy on some days, maybe on most of the days, I won't be happy or satisfied. Maybe on most of the days I will feel lonely, discouraged, purposeless, directionless, miserable, like literally all the worst things. But it's so worth it because in the end you discover who you truly were meant to be, and you get to that point of actually using your skills and articulating what you wanted to articulate, and then being understood and seen with that same depth. If you prove to yourself it's about proving to yourself and creating that identity, using it a few times, failing in it a few times, finally crystallizing it, and then you get it. So complicated. Just like the long process of becoming a doctor. So, yeah, if your why isn't like, that's my only option, like I don't know how and when and why, but I know that that's my only way for me to feel like I'm living in my purpose, even if I physically and mentally feel like it's completely, what am I doing? No, there will be questions of what am I doing? I'm not supposed to be doing this. Is it even for me? The doubts, everything. It's misery actively, but it's not misery on a soul level because you know that you're supposed to be miserable right now. Like I'm aligned with this pain, you know? And I wouldn't trade this alignment for any kind of pleasant experience of joy and perceived happiness with people who I know I'm not supposed to be surrounded with. Not every person is meant to go through the dark stage of self-exploration and sacrifice all of their youth to maybe, hopefully, finally get to that shining diamond that was in them all their childhood and they could never name. Not everyone is meant to endure that much pressure, and it's okay. It's okay. It's not an insult. It's not an insult. It's just everyone should be in their place, and don't try to be someone who you're not meant to be. Don't try to put yourself in this like, I'm an entrepreneur now. You will never find out unless you try. So I'm not telling you to dismiss the difficulty and like, you know, as soon as it gets difficult, it's too difficult for me. As a David Goggins fan, I believe difficulty is for everyone. Everyone is able to train their minds to endure extreme pain, extreme level of difficulty. But what I'm saying is, inherently, there is some sort of purpose of what is for you and what isn't. Even if you're able to endure some sort of pain, you know, physically you can prove that you can run 200 kilometers. Maybe it's just something that, you know, physically you could do. My grandma, probably, I think she could do that. She could do that. Physiologically, yes. Would she survive that? Questionable. So not everything that you can do, you should do. I tried to place my sense of I'm looking for me. I'm looking to where to put this ambition in business. The amounts of crazy YouTube businesses I opened when I was when I was sitting in my room and researching and studying and doing all of that. Crazy. And it was never for me. Because yes, I couldn't endure the level of suffering that it took. I couldn't afford that pain. And it's not an insult to me. It doesn't say that I'm weaker, a weaker person. I'm weaker in that sense. Yes, there are people who are stronger in that field than me. Yeah, that makes me weaker. Doesn't make me a weak person. Because in some fields, I am stronger than them. And I can endure more pain and suffering and pressure and challenge to become something that they could never become because they're not meant to become that. That's all I'm saying. So maybe everyone is capable of enduring the same amount of suffering, the same amount of difficulty, or relatively the same, similar. Maybe most people could endure the difficulty. Maybe the process of becoming isn't all that hard. I just make it up to be in my mind. Maybe I'm just dramatic, but it's definitely not for everyone. That path is definitely not suited for everyone. Be ambitious, ask questions, fulfill your dreams, make crazy goals. I'm not telling you to not become what you want to become. I'm literally telling you the opposite thing. Just never try to fit the mold of what is cool right now. You just don't know what you want and you think that next cool thing that they told you to want is exactly what you want. Ask yourself more questions, have conversations with yourself and question everything. Don't just fall for everything that's sold to you.